Good morning, girls and boys. It's nice to see you and welcome to week 22 of our art class. I want to start off by saying that I would love it if everybody could remember that your homes and my home are our classroom right now. Those places have become our classroom. And so if you remember here, it says in our classroom, we need to be respectful, right? We need to stay calm so that we can listen and work to the best of our ability, right? So what I need you to do is I need you to go get your materials together for the project and remember to use whatever materials you have available at home. Find a nice quiet spot where you can concentrate and focus on doing the best artwork that you can do, right? It's not going to always be perfect because nothing ever is, and we aren't either. But I did want to let you know that it's okay if you do your best and it's not quite right. That's great. If you don't do your best, that's not great. It says right here, mindset matters. It's what you tell yourself. So it's good enough. Is it really good enough? Right here it says, is this my best work? You should question it. Not just say, it's all right, it's good enough. No, if you look at your artwork and you say, oh, no, this isn't really my best. I know Miss Petrelli would say there's a lot of white spaces in there that you could fill in with color to make it more colorful, full of color. If you're coloring and you're just scribbling and you're not coloring in the same direction, then that's showing me and yourselves that you're not doing your best. So it's important to always do your best so that you can be proud of yourself and what you create, okay? And that makes you have a good feeling. And when you have a good feeling, then everything else kind of falls into place, right? Because you're thinking positively. So with all that being said, now we are going back to focusing on Louis Comfort Tiffany and his beautiful creations that he decided to make as an artist, right? But his dad had that factory and that store, and he would sell all of these beautiful things, pieces of furniture and things that were to decorate homes, and he would sell them and make lots of money. But remember, Louis didn't want any part of that. He wanted to be an artist. So the materials and the tools that were at his dad's store were what he started to use. And that was pieces of glass, little pieces of glass that were broken up and painted, and then use lead to glue them together. And he did that and started getting people to say, hey, that's gorgeous, I want that. How much is it? And so he started to sell his pieces, and they wanted so many of them, and so many people were so interested in his work that he said, hey, Dad, let me sell them in your store, and that will bring business to your place. And that's how they became famous, and that's how it became Tiffany and Company in Manhattan, right, in New York City. So that's the story about Tiffany. But we were trying to make something that was similar to Tiffany in that we were using shapes. And I did this, I told you, in tracing paper. If you happen to have tracing paper or parchment paper for baking in the kitchen, you can use that. And when you use the marker to color it in, then it allows you to put it up on the window. And when it's sunlight comes through, it comes through the color and it gives it that look of a stained glass window. And so we are trying to create that look, but most of us don't have tracing paper at home. And so what I did was I just did it in marker on a regular piece of paper. And last week, I know we were talking about starting with a border. And a border is another name for what? Excellent. If you said it's another name for a frame, you're correct. We made a border, and within that border, we were only allowed to use geometric shapes. So here are our geometric shapes. And those are the shapes that have names. They have individual names in this family of shapes, right? So just how I am Lena and you are who you are, this is circle and this is triangle and this is oval and rectangle, right? And they're in the same family because they are made perfectly straight or perfectly round, usually with tools like rulers and compasses and things like that, but these have their own individual names. Inside of our piece, we were only allowed to use biomorphic shapes, and those are these shapes. The biomorphic shapes are the ones that are found in nature, and they do not have their own individual names. They look like things, or they might remind us of a tree or an animal, a lizard, a frog, a leaf, but they are really things that, shapes that are found in nature that look like they could be a puddle or a paint splatter or whatever, okay? But they don't have a name. This could be a halabalala, a jalamanula, who knows, right? I'm just making up words. But the biomorphic shapes we are reserving for the interior. This is the exterior of our piece, the outside, and this is the interior because it's within our border. So what we're gonna do today is we're going to hopefully finish our piece. Now, some of you already completed it and submitted it, and that's great. That's wonderful. But most of you have not. Some of you created this border. Some of you did just tracing the circles, and that's great. That's very beautiful, it's very effective, and it pops. Some of you chose to introduce more shapes, and you did so by using a ruler, breaking up, dividing up the space, and creating other shapes, like in these squares in the corners, we divided them up and created two triangles. Also created, what do we call a half of a circle? Who knows? Good. Those of you who said a semicircle, you're correct. So triangles, semicircles, rectangles here, right? We have created many, many, many geometric shapes if we wanted to. And now on the interior, some of you already did this as well, and I just wanted to show you how we take it from here to here, okay? So let me use this piece, and I'm going to work, or this piece, it doesn't matter. I'm going to show you how to, if you did not already, how to draw your interior by creating those shapes. Actually, I'm going to save us a little time. Nope, I'm not. See, I'm always changing my mind. Who knows what I'm going to do next? Okay, so I'm going to go like this. I'm going to pull you a little closer. Great. And then I'm going to begin. You can use pencil. I'm just going to use marker, but I wanted to add something that was part of nature. So whatever it is, if it is, some people showed me flowers, flowers and land. So let's say that this is the grass. Okay. Pretend that's the grass, and let's see here. I'm going over this with a better marker. Okay, there's my grass. Here is another line, it's curved. I'm going to add, maybe I do want to put a tree here, large, in the foreground. And I'm going to add some smaller branches. Now, the thing with the stained glass, and I will show you, is that We have to make it look like puzzle pieces. So now that I have that tree here, I am going to add, maybe I'm going to put flowers here. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to put large flowers here. Even, well, maybe I'll put one big one here. These are super big. Maybe they're kind of like sunflowers, even though they're not. And maybe I'm putting another one here or a piece of one. Whatever it is that I want, right? Now I'm going to double up my stem, make another line. There I have some flowers. Now maybe I want to make this tree look like it's full of green leaves or purple leaves, orange, red, I don't know, whatever season it is that you're creating. And then maybe back here in my middle ground, another curved line. Now here's the foreground of our space, and that means everything is close and looks like it's close to us. Here is the middle space. That gets a little smaller, only this tree is super large just because it happens to be a tall growing tree. And here is the background. So maybe I want to put, maybe it doesn't have to be mountains. Maybe I want it to be buildings. I don't know, maybe it's Jersey City and we don't have mountains there. But you can draw whatever it is that you like. Maybe I'm just gonna put 2 of those. And then I'm going to add my sun. Maybe the sun is setting in the city. And I add some lines there. But what I need to show you is this. Every line has to touch another line. So this can't be left open because that's too big of a space. That would only be one color of a little piece of stained glass. So maybe I want to divide that space. I'll show you another example right here. If you look, these lines have to touch other lines. They need to connect so that they can enclose the space, creating a shape. Now, do these look like geometric shapes? No, they don't. They're biomorphic. So the clouds, I'm gonna make these rays come all the way touching there, touching to the cloud. I have a space here that's a little too big. I'm going to make this one jump over the cloud and go like that. So now I have smaller spaces. I have created smaller biomorphic shapes. And I will bring it up closer so that you can see. Every single one of these shapes that has no name is a biomorphic shape. And that space you will color its own color. So now this ray here is a biomorphic shape, and you color all of this area with one color. That will give you this stained glass effect. Okay? So now you have spaces to color different colors, and then those of you who have oil pastels, if you wanted to go back and trace all of that space, trace the lines for those shapes in oil pastel, you could do that, or whatever material you have at home. Let me just quickly finish this one out. Let's put the circle here and the other circle here, and I'm not making it perfect because we don't have that much time. Unfortunately, it's not like we're at school in the building anymore just yet. But I'm making my pattern here. I had an X. I was using a ruler. that day, but now I'm just going to make this X. And by creating that X, what have I made? By producing an X inside of this small, tall rectangle, I have created 4 what? I can't hear you, boys and girls. Yes, I have 2 types of triangles, 2 of these and 2 of these. And so that is how we are creating an interesting look. Let me see. Maybe I'm going to add just 1 circle in the center here. And I don't know, another one up here. Okay, so now I can break up my shapes into as many as I want. If I wanted to make many semicircles, I could, or I don't have to. It is your choice. You are the artist. But I do want to show you coloring in. So this is going to be water. I still want to color in one direction. If you color in crayon, you're not going to see your lines or the strokes that you're making. If you color in marker, you will notice those marker strokes. And so if you want to be very, very patient and not do it scribbly and fast, you can simply go back and forth, side to side, or you could go up and down vertically, but you will see every mark that you make if you use marker, right? And that's why it's called a marker, so you can make a mark. But yeah, I am going to color a little bit faster just so that I can show you. Now, you can choose whatever colors you like. I want my grass to look, I don't know, maybe, and you know what? I want my grass to have different values. So I'm gonna add 1 more line. I'm gonna break up this shape, this biomorphic shape. I'm gonna add another line to it, breaking that space up into 2 shapes. Now, if I want, I can make this bottom shape a dark value of green, and then I can make this portion of my grass a lighter value of green. And why would I do that? I bet some of you are asking, like, who cares? Why bother to do that? But that is something that is called atmospheric perspective. You say, atmospheric perspective. Great. And all that means is that the colors, the things that are closest to us here in the foreground are going to be a darker value or brighter. And the things that are further away from us, moving back into the background, far off into the distance, those things become lighter value because our eye can't see the true color from that distance, from that far away. So I'm just trying to introduce that concept or that idea of space, right? And that is one way that I can create space in my piece, and I'm coloring up and down to help create some visual texture of having grass. And I don't know, let's see. There's so many things that we can do with this piece. I'm really excited. You can also color it in crayon if you'd like, or if you only have crayon, or you could do marker on the inside, you could do crayon on the outside, right? Interior, exterior. If I wanted to do that, I could. I already had some of you send me a finished artwork, and they look beautiful. And some of you used only crayon, and some of you combined your materials and used mixed media, right? Which means mixing the materials together. And I am so proud of you for that. I think that that's a wonderful thing to do, is to experiment with different materials, because that's exciting. And then you can make discoveries about it. I don't know. maybe I'm going to make all of my circles orange. You can create color patterns, right? So let's see, let me make a color pattern but somewhere else. Well, no, I can do it here too. If I make all of my circles orange, no, that's really not a good example. I'm trying to think. Maybe I could use complementary colors, right? Those that are across from one another on the color wheel. I could also focus on only one family of colors on the interior. Maybe I do all cool colors. Maybe on the exterior I do all warm colors, right? Because we have a lot of shapes going on here. And although that's very, very interesting and exciting, as soon as you add color, now you're adding another element, color, and it makes it very busy looking. So it's up to you as an artist. Do you want it to be colorful with all of the colors, or are you going to be selective and only use some in certain areas? That is your choice. But notice how I'm taking my time. And let me see. I'm going to use a red. I'm going to stick on the outside with some warm colors only. Let me see, I'm looking for a red that I like here. Okay, and maybe I'm going to, no, looked red, turned out to be like a raspberry, but that's okay. It's still a warm color. So maybe I'm gonna do that. Maybe my pattern is going to be every triangle will be raspberry and every circle will be orange. I'm keeping it consistent. That means the same, so that there's a rhyme and a reason to it all. But do you have to do that, boys and girls? No, you don't. That's just what I'm doing in my piece. You can make your piece however you like, and you have, and I love that you have sent them to me. But what I wanted you to do for this week is to simply go back and add more lines, extend your lines, complete these biomorphic shapes over here on the interior, and then begin to add color. And the last part that I said were oil pastels. And the reason that I brought that up is that if you do have oil pastels, it is a nice way to give it the effect or the illusion or the look of stained glass by tracing or outlining your shapes, both biomorphic and geometric, in oil pastel. Now listen, I'm going to be honest. If you don't like getting messy, don't use oil pastels. They are messy and they smear. So if you are doing what I am doing right now, or if you are going to plan on doing that, then please be prepared to get a little messy. And it's going to smear. And that's going to make a lot of you a little frustrated. So beware, okay? You're welcome to use them if you have them, but just know that that occurs, right? The smear marks and the smudges, they happen. But it does make these shapes pop, right? It does. Or if you like this look for the stained glass, like Louis Comfort Tiffany's, but you don't want to use the oil pastel, or you just don't have an oil pastel, all you have to do is make your black lines thick. Make them thicker. So I do this. I color in the space in between my two lines. I think I picked up the same bad marker. Yep. Okay, so I double up my line like this, and then I color it in. And so now by making my lines thicker, that has also created the look or that illusion of the lead that truly holds the pieces of glass together. And just to show you that it looks almost the same, I'm going to color that mountain, but I'm going to color it purple. So now I go over here and I color my biomorphic shape. Remember, color my biomorphic shape in one direction only. I'm getting little particles of the oil pastel from here into my shape. But look, I just wanted to show you. It gives it almost the same look, right? So I just wanted to show you that there are different ways that you can use things and that we can manipulate things to look like something that they're really not. Kind of like magicians. So I am so, so happy to have had you today. And I'm very excited to get your artwork back, okay? So please, please remember to submit it into Google Classroom into week 22, okay? And I can't wait to see these all full of color, okay? I'm really proud of you, boys and girls. Thanks a lot for joining me this week, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.